Hi friends, it's Terry back with another crafty video for you. So today is the third part in the three-part series where I'm using products I was gifted by Pen Pusher as part of my Pen Pusher ambassador role. So today I'm going to be playing with my Karin Brushmarker Pro water-based markers. So the great thing about these is that they, obviously being water-based, you can use them as watercolours, as well as being able to use them for calligraphy and modern hand lettering. So I'm going to do a similar technique that I've done before. I think I've got a video on my channel to it. If I have, I'll link to that here. I'll also put in the description box below the same link and the link to parts 1 and 2 before this video, showing you all of the products that I've received and what I'm trying out. But I'm using today this stamp set by Concord and 9th called Grateful for Everything, which I used in the last video in part 2 of this series, and I coloured it up with the Finetec Coliro Pearlcolors watercolour set. So what I'm going to do is I've cut myself down a piece of Tonic Craft Perfect watercolour card, an A4 piece, into a 5x7 panel. And so I'm going to kind of recreate a card that I did before using a very similar set, where I used this Hello Lovely stamp, where I stamped it in the bottom right and the top left corners and then put a sentiment in the middle. So I've just lined the first one up where I want it. So I'm going to take that off there, and then obviously because I'm going to be heat embossing the, well, not obviously, I haven't told you yet. I'm going to be heat embossing this, and instead of going for black, I thought I would go for a smoky grey. So I'm going to go for a Versafine smoky grey ink and Sweet Dixie crystal clear embossing powder, which I find to be fab. So I'm going to generously apply the anti-static powder bag all over the watercolour paper to hopefully prevent any embossing powder getting anywhere I don't want it. And then I'm going to stamp this image in the smoky grey, which I've used previously on a different project, and I really like the effect. It's just not as stark as black. It might need a couple of stamps because of it being watercolour paper and it having a texture to it, but obviously I'm not going to show you that. I'll just include the initial bits of footage of heat embossing for people that haven't seen or done heat embossing before, but then I won't show any more heat embossing than that, because I don't want to be showing you things that you already know how to do, or having to fast forward through lots of portions of my video. And the reason I'm heat embossing this is because it's useful with watercolours, because heat embossing causes the watercolour to sort of sit within the little wells that the heat embossing creates. Excellent. So I'm happy with that image. It's nice and crisp. I've got out my little bit of card that I use for clear embossing powder only. So I'm going to liberally cover this in clear embossing powder. You can see it's starting to melt straight away as it darkens up. Right, there we go. So it's slightly warped, which is completely normal with heat embossing, but that will flatten out, so there's no concerns about that. So I'm going to go ahead and do exactly what I've done, but on the other corner, and then I'll be back when I'm ready to start the colouring. See you back in a mo. Okay, so I've got both sides heat embossed, and I've got my piece set up on my Make Art station, which I love. Little metallic platform with strong magnets. Now, what I usually do when I get any new sort of colouring mediums is I swatch them all out first. And that's what I should do before doing this. But to be honest, I can't be bothered right now to do it. But what I really want to do is just play. So I'm going to kind of go for an in-between kind of thing. I'm going to pick up some colours. Look how juicy they are. So this is, my hand reached and I reached for this turquoise 654. And I'm going to just take a bit of water and blend that out. Oh, that looks beautiful. I've recently got some new paintbrushes from Tonic Studios from Nuvo. There's a good range of them, different sizes, and they were on offer. So that's a keeper. My favourite colour palette is turquoise, aquas, purples and pinks, etc. So that's why I'm just like really so looking forward to playing with this set. So I'm just going to do a sort of, I'm going to pick a few colours that I think should work well together, and then just set about playing really, and just not think about it and just play. What I'm also planning on doing is instead of using a sentiment stamp, I am going to have a try at hand lettering my own sentiment, which is something I've been wanting to do for ages and just haven't sort of got the confidence up, but I do think that I'm good enough now. So I'm thinking like turquoisey, bluey leaves, pinky, purpley blooms. And I'm just gonna go for it, guys. I'm just gonna play. So I'm gonna go in. Yeah, I think I'm going to use my tiny brush. And this is what I meant about heat embossing being useful, because if I'm creating like little puddles with the brush, the heat embossing sort of contains it and stops it spreading over into the next little area. And then anything, you know, that goes like too light, I can obviously always go back in it with more marker to darken it up, or add more water if I need more highlights. And I'm not going to show you all of this because that would be a very long video, so I'm going to show you bits here and there and anything that I think you might find particularly interesting. And then the rest of it I will edit out, because I am conscious of just trying to make these videos as enjoyable as possible for all of my viewers, and it's just trying to get that balance right between, you know, having enough detail in there so you know what I'm doing and how I've done it, but not boring you. And you're never going to get that completely right because people have different preferences, but I will do my best. So you can see here, I think I want a bit more darkness here. So I'm just going to go in, and this bit I added quite a bit of water before, so I'm just going to add a little bit less water this time. These are working beautifully though, really lovely. I think a bit of plum, but very watered down. Would be really nice. So these are the areas of like highlight that I think would be lighter areas. And obviously, you know, when colouring florals, which I love to do, but again, just to restate, I am not professing to be an expert. It's just that this is something that I really enjoy doing, and that lots of people say they enjoy of my work. I've forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, so with florals, obviously it's about looking at, as with colouring anything, it's about making sure you have areas of shadow and areas of light, but also being aware that florals are different colours as well. You know, they have different colours through them, so not all of the petals are going to be the same colour. So I just try and not get bogged down with any of that kind of stuff. I'm just like, I'm having fun. I'm here to have fun. This is my joy. This is my happy place. And that's what I try to sort of encourage on my channel really as well, is just for people to enjoy themselves, just to sort of lose themselves in it, get absorbed in it, and just have fun playing. And there's no such thing as a mistake. If we don't like something, we change it, and that's fine. These pens are so beautifully juicy though. They're working wonderfully for this purpose. I want a bit of a highlight across the middle here. Okay, my lovelies, so I've finished all of the blooms and I've just started playing with the turquoises. So I've got turquoise, cool aqua and sapphire blue. So the sapphire blue's like for a bit of depth in the shadows. I just sort of started carrying on, and then I thought, oh, I need to press record. So I remembered. But I think this is coming along really nicely, and I'm just really enjoying myself. It's really fun. I've got ink in a few places that I didn't necessarily want it, but I figure that's okay. Can fix that up, or you know, it won't matter too much in the grand scheme of things. So for these big leaves, I'm sort of using these 3 colours, and then I'll just mix up the types of blues and greens and stuff for the other colours, and then I need to find a colour for the berries as well. But I was thinking of maybe pulling out some of my Finetec, the Magical Creatures Pearlcolors set that I used in the last video, because I thought that the some of the colours in that might look nice, just to do maybe a bit of splatter. I thought that'd look really quite nice, so I might do that. So also realise you can blend them beautifully together. It's really nice. See how seamlessly they blend together because they're so juicy. It's lovely. You'll notice there's quite a few like spotty bits, especially around here, and that's where bits of embossing, of clear embossing powder have stuck to the paper. But that's okay. I think it adds, it's sort of looking like a bit of a sort of mixed media-y type thing to me. Which again is why I'm sort of thinking about maybe adding some Pearlcolors or maybe even some shimmer powders or something like that for some splatter and some interest. So yeah, it's just so much fun. I'm really enjoying playing with these pens. They're gorgeous. So I think if you're into your hand lettering, if you're into colouring with watercolours, or watercolour markers, water-based markers, you'll find these lovely to work with. They're lovely to hold in the hand. They feel nice and high quality. The brush is super juicy, super juicy. It's just lovely. You can tell that you're playing with, that you're using a really high quality product. Ultimately, it's really nice. Or they are really nice, should I say. Okie dokie. Right, so I shall see you shortly with some more progress or the finished card. Right, my lovelies, I'm back again. So I've coloured up the majority of the blooms. Overall, I'm happy with the way it's going so far. So the only bits I've got left to do are the berries and these bits of what I think are probably lavender or wheat. So what I plan to do is dig out my Magical Creatures set of Finetec Coliro Pearlcolors that I used in the last video, particularly in the colours Sphinx, which is like gold in one light and like a slight green tinge in another light. So I'm going to use those on the berries, and then Medusa, which is like a reddish, like a deep sort of reddish purple in one light, and then like a sort of metallic violet in another light. So I'm going to use the Medusa on these parts, which I think are probably lavender. So I have activated the paints by spraying them with some water and leaving them for a few minutes. So I'm going to quickly colour in the berries. Now, if you haven't watched the last video or the unboxing video for these, I would highly recommend it because these paints are amazing. They are just so beautiful, and I mean, they're beautiful on white cardstock, but then when you use them on black watercolour cardstock, the colour changes and it's just stunning. It's phenomenal. So I shall see you back in a moment with the completed card. Okay, my friends, so here we are with the completed card. I trimmed the watercolour panel down to around 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then I found some like gold cardstock, and it's got a bit of a glittery shimmery finish. I found that in my stash, so I just cut that down to a fraction smaller than 5 by 7. So we've got a nice sort of sparkly gold border. And then I went through my matting and layering dies and found these coordinating ones. And I was really brave, and I was practicing my lettering, and I've actually used the violet blue, which I've used in the card, to hand letter the happy. And the birthday. I did the birthday in the Pentel Touch originally, and then I went over it with the Zig Wink of Stella that was included in my first Pen Pusher Ambassador kit. So, oh, and I also added some splatters of colour using the Sphinx, the same colour that I did the berries in from the Finetec paints. So I hope you'll agree. I think that's a really nice card. I'd be happy to receive that. It was really fun to do. Obviously, you know, there's imperfections, but it's handmade, not Hallmark, ultimately. So, and this is the first time, this is what I've been building up to, is to actually writing my own sentiments on my cards. So I'm sort of, it's a little victory for me, being able to incorporate the two things that I really enjoy. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you as always for choosing to spend this time with me, and I'd love to hear what you think about the card in the comment section below, so feel free to leave me any comments that you like. And if you like my work and you're not a current subscriber, it'd be wonderful to have you on board with my little crafty family. So please consider subscribing, and if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified every time I produce a new video, which is around 2 to 3 times a week. That's all from me today. See and speak to you soon with some more crafty goodness. Bye for now.